All You Need to Know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business.
Good morning and thanks for listening in. Happy Monday to you. This is the All You Need to Know podcast on Bloomberg Quint and I'm Alex Matthew. Today is the 21st of December. Here's everything that you need to know at the start of the new week. India's COVID-19 spread continues to slow even as the number of confirmed cases crossed the 1 crore milestone. In the 24 hours to 8 a.m. yesterday, there was just 26,624 fresh cases. That's not a bad number considering that several other countries around the world are seeing not just a second wave but also dangerous mutations of the virus. UK Health Secretary Matt Hancock warned that the new strain of the coronavirus is out of control and suggested that parts of England will now be stuck in the new highest tier of restrictions until a vaccine is rolled out. More than 16 million Britons are now required to stay at home after lockdown came into force yesterday in London and southeast England, and the government scrapped plans to relax rules on socializing at Christmas. In the US, meanwhile, a total of over 4 lakh cases were reported just yesterday. In the top global news, according to an update from Bloomberg just this morning, congressional leaders in the US have reached a deal on a roughly $900 billion spending package to bolster the US economy amid the continued spread of the coronavirus, giving lawmakers a short timetable to review and pass what would be one of the biggest economic rescue measures in the history of that nation. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and Senate Democratic Leader Chuck Schumer announced the accord overnight. The legislative text was still being written, but the House is expected to vote on it today, followed by the Senate. Now, US Indices Futures were trading marginally positive, with gains of just up to 0.2% this morning, perhaps also weighed down by the sharp increase in COVID-19 cases. All three early rises in the Asia-Pacific region, meanwhile, have started in the red, and Brent crude was lower by about 2% this morning, last I checked, but still above the $51 per barrel mark. Now back home, Apple's contract manufacturer Wistron on Saturday removed its vice president Vincent Lee, who was heading operations in India after finding fault in the process of wage payment during its internal investigation. The Taiwanese electronic services major admitted the mistakes at its end and apologized to the workers. Meanwhile, Apple said it's placing the supplier on probation and will hold off giving new orders to Wistron Corp until the problems are fixed. Now, gold imports, which have a bearing on the current account deficit, as you know, fell between April and November in India. Inbound shipments fell 40% to $12.3 billion during that period, according to data from the Commerce Ministry. But the imports recorded a year-on-year increase of 2.65% in November to $3 billion. The Finance Ministry has said that 5 states, including Tamil Nadu and Telangana, have been given permission to borrow an additional 16,728 crore rupees following completion of stipulated reforms for ease of doing business. Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh are the other states which have been permitted to borrow the extra amount. In more international news, President Donald Trump has downplayed the severity of a recent cyber attack on the US government and suggested that China might have been involved. In doing so, the president on Twitter contradicted assessments from his own senior officials within his administration who have blamed Moscow for the intrusion of at least half a dozen federal agencies, including comments on Friday night from Secretary of State Michael Pompeo. And with that, it's over to Hormuz Fatakia for the trade setup for the day in India. Good morning, Hormuz. How are we looking at the start of the week?
Good morning to you, Alex, and to those tuned in. It is a new week, it is a truncated week, and it is a festive one too. So, after 7 straight weekly gains, do not be surprised if we get to see a bit of consolidation for the final 2 weeks of the year. Early ticks on the SGX Nifty indicated that the index traded 50 points lower, around the mark of 13,730. And let's move on to specific stocks and what they entail for us today. Reliance Industries has announced the start of production from R Cluster, which is an ultra deep water gas field in the KGD6 block, along with British Petroleum. This is the first of the 3 projects to come on stream. The company expects peak gas production from these 3 fields to be about 25% of India's domestic gas production by the year 2023. Morgan Stanley expects the new production to contribute nearly 3% of the overall earnings and cash flow by 2023. InfoEdge is the next one, where it said that Zomato has completed a primary fundraise of over $250 million from 4 investors: Cora Management, Tiger Global, D1 Capital and Fidelity. The transaction values Zomato at a post-money valuation of $3.9 billion. InfoEdge's stake in Zomato now stands at 19.3%. Infosys has divested 1/3 of its holdings in Boston-based Whoop Inc. for $10 million. It had made a minority investment of $3 million in the said company in December of 2015. Kpr Mill is the next one. The company will be setting up a new sugar mill with a capacity of 10,000 tons of cane per day, power capacity of 47.5 megawatt and ethanol capacity of 230 kiloliters per day. The company is aiming for higher ethanol capacity in the new unit, for which they have proposed to convert 30% of the sugarcane crushed into ethanol. The project is expected to be completed over the next 10 to 12 months. The expenditure of 500 crore rupees is likely to be funded through a mixture of equity and debt. The stock is trading at a record high. Now, updates on the QIPs of the 2 PSU banks. IDBI Bank has managed to raise 1,435 crore rupees through its QIP, which was subscribed by 44 qualified institutional buyers. The lender had planned a base issue of 1,000 crore rupees and a greenshoe option of the same amount. The issue price of the QIP has been fixed at 38.6 rupees a share, which is a 5% discount to the QIP floor price. Punjab National Bank too has raised over 3,700 crore rupees through its QIP. The lender approved the issue of over 106 crore shares at an issue price of 35.5 rupees a share. The issue price is a 5% discount as well to the QIP floor price. Staying with PSU banks, Canara Bank has clarified on the news item circulating over the alleged fraud of over 7,900 crore rupees by a company named TransTroy India. The lender says that its share in the amount lent by a consortium of 14 banks stands at 678 crore rupees, and complete provisions have been made on the same as per RBI guidelines. The lender also said that it has declared the company as a willful defaulter in December of 2018 and that the said company is under the process of liquidation. Also watch for PVR, where the company has approved raising a sum of 800 crore rupees through various methods. Some stocks on the back of large deals that took place on Friday. First, Affle India, where various Nomura funds have purchased close to 3% stake in the company. The company's promoters sold over 4.5% stake on Friday. Lemon Tree Hotels, where IV Icon Solutions, WF Asian Fund and Pacific Horizon Investment Trust bought over 3.5% stake, whereas promoters of the company sold over 5.5% stake. And Mindspace Business Parks REIT, where the Vanguard Group has acquired over 50 lakh units at around 322 rupees per unit. Lastly, the IPO of Antony Waste Management opens for subscription today. The company attempts to raise 300 crore rupees through the issue with a price band of 313 to 315 rupees per share. Remember, this is the second time that the company is launching its IPO. The first issue had to be withdrawn due to COVID-related issues and the resultant tepid response. More on the stocks in focus, along with a lot more in our All You Need to Know copy on BloombergQuint.com. And with that, I wish you a safe day ahead, and it's back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Hormuz, and as always, thank you all for listening in. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great week.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you could listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma, or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.